Lydia Mavan from the ABC. Thank you very much for your time, sir. So today my question is to do with, it's arising from the FICAC situation, the appointment of the new commissioner, but it also makes reference to the appointment of the acting DPP and the one that was acting before her. With regards to all that has come out, you've asked for a commission of inquiry. You've admitted that there's some things that could have been done better. So how much confidence do you have in your government's ability to restore the integrity to our key democratic institutions, given what has happened? And can you tell us a little bit about how you intend to run the commission of inquiry so that it adds to that integrity?
Thank you very much, Lide. There is a cabinet paper before cabinet on Tuesday, which proposes the investigation or commission, whatever it will turn out to be. It sets out the terms of reference and also a list of suggested members of the commission for cabinet to consider. Your question is very relevant. It is an issue of the credibility of government and government institutions and systems. We cannot undo what is done, but we can make sure that it does not happen again. And if anyone had contravened any standing orders, laws, or regulations, then they would be brought to line.
So in an interview with the ABC, the former acting deputy commissioner of FICAC, Ms. Frances Pulewai, alleged that she faced some threats and said that there might have been attacks on her safety. Can you respond to that allegation that people here are still frightened of that sort of heavy-handed interference and pressure?
It would not come from the government that I lead. Who is she afraid of? I do not know whether any report was made to the police. I have not received any response from the police, and you know that that report was pulled down by ABC as they questioned the credibility of some of the information disclosed therein.
The police have since said that there wasn't any police report made. Is Fiji safe for people who want to take action against the members of your government?
I believe we are safe. If there's anyone under the most threat, it's me. And I have not felt any threat, and I wonder why I have so many so-called bodyguards following me around. I think they're courtesy policemen who make sure that they open the door, particularly now that I've got an unsteady gait, and they make sure they open the door and make sure that the steps have railings and so on. So I do not think they are there to ward off any would-be attackers.
Is Ms. Pulewai safe to return to Fiji?
Yes.
Even after everything that she has alleged?
It's speculation. It's not been confirmed.
Even the threats that she alleged that the family faced?
She is alleging that. That has not been substantively reported nor investigated by the authorities.
So you have also received criticism regarding how you handled the FICAC controversy. You did not make any immediate executive decision in the early days when this FICAC controversy came about. It's after only a few months towards the end of this month that you made a call that the COI is appropriate.
The whole process was according to the law. The involvement of the Judicial Services Commission and those involved in that. I and the government and the commission, the Constitutional Officers Commission were never involved and should never have been involved.
So have you met with Mr. George Spade?
No, not yet.
Are you anticipating to meet him anytime soon?
I didn't have any arrangement to meet with him.
So can you please give us an update regarding how safe the Fijians are in the Middle East, given that we currently have a a war that is currently evoking in Israel and between Israel and Iran. From your foreign affairs ministry, you have received any update regarding the Fijians there?
Fiji volunteered to become a troop contributing country to the United Nations, and we have participated since 1978. And we will be there as long as the United Nations is involved in peacekeeping, and we will not pull out until the United Nations surrenders.
Has your position in support of Israel changed, given that Israel has now taken action against Lebanon to its border?
There is a bilateral matter between Israel and Lebanon. It is, we maintain our position that territorial integrity, as recognized by the United Nations, must be respected. And that was part of the Resolution 425 and 426, which launched UNIFIL, that people withdrew, countries withdrew to their internationally recognized boundaries and borders. But you know that since then there have been violations of borders and boundaries, and countries also have the right to defend their citizens and territory.
So after this, you'll be presenting your paper on the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Can you tell us a little bit about the mechanisms that you intend to suggest or propose that will particularly speak to restorative justice for victims of previous coups?
That will come out when the bill is presented for scrutiny by the committee, and they will solicit the views of the public. Today is only the first reading, and I table the bill in Parliament, and that is committed to the responsible committee for deliberation and for the second reading to be held in the next sitting, which is November.
In its current format, what would you like the Truth and Reconciliation Commission to do?
No, I would then be dictating what they do. I want them to be free.
What's your hope?
My hope is that they'll come up with recommendations that will ensure that we are aware of the situations that give rise to instability, and we avoid those.
Prime Minister Elaite from Fiji, Nimbula. Last week, Prime Minister, at the United Nations General Assembly, His Excellency Ratu Wilame Katunibere, had said that this is in relations to foreign affairs. The President had said that there were unilateral tests of firing of ballistic missiles into the Pacific Ocean. I understand that your last recent visit was to China. Did you meet with President Xi and discuss your oceans of peace policy and how
Yes.
to protect our...
Yes, I mentioned to him the concept of the Ocean of Peace, which was presented to the PIF leaders meeting in Tonga recently, where the PIF leaders meeting committed themselves to coming up with a resolution to be declared in Honiara next year, the next PIF leaders meeting. Because we didn't have any declaration, any substantive movement from the opinion I expressed in the UNGA last year, I mentioned or asked His Excellency to mention it generally. But since I mentioned it last year, it has taken on a momentum of its own. Now the Commonwealth is interested in the concept. Countries in the region are also interested. So once the resolution, once the declaration is made in Honiara, I should be able to go back, and hopefully we'll take it up from there and encourage the countries of the world to pick up on whatever they can do to achieve peaceful environments around their own territories. You asked about President Xi. I met him, and I was quite interested in his 5 principles for peaceful coexistence. And the 4th one in that was the stand against any nuclear proliferation, but in fact he was pushing for nuclear disarmament. And so I was surprised that they had that so-called test, but I believe it was part of the joint exercise between China and Russia, where they fired a missile over 11,000 kilometers and landed in the high seas of the Pacific, close to, it went over 6 Pacific EEZs and landed close to French Polynesian and the Kiribati EEZs.
No dangers there, sir?
No dangers. There was a monitoring ship in the area, and they would have been informed. They would have had data on all ship and aircraft movement in the area over the firing time.
So, just a follow-up to China's question in regards to the Israeli and Iranian missile attacks against each other. What about the Fijian diaspora? I understand there are about 100 Fijians that are there that are not engaged in the UN peacekeeping, as you said. Are there plans with your counterparts to?
We have always sent out advisories to them to please get out of the conflict zones, not to be there apart from our uniformed servicemen and women who are there on duty. If they're not there on duty, they should try and get away from those danger zones. Our people are there. Before they went in, they knew they were danger zones, and the commitment made then in 1978 is what we still committed to now.
Also this morning, sir, in Parliament, the Speaker had withdrawn agendas 4 and 5 with regards to the nominations of the President. Would you be able to indicate who government's nominee is?
No, I will not divulge that, but suffice to say that there was some discomfort on some of the nominees, and that was brought to my attention by the Honourable Speaker before the meeting, so I asked him if I could withdraw the nomination, my nomination, and he probably spoke to the leader of the opposition. They might have had a nomination too. So in fairness to both, we couldn't make the nominations when there was clouds over the nominees.
Thank you, sir.
So, Lavanya, my TV. So, in your first term in office, your government's recorded, good performance financial-wise. They released the provincial results for the last financial year. You did well in all aspects. But so, have you discussed perhaps strategies on how to maintain that trend going forward? There's been reduction in debt as well as I think the deficit as well.
The biggest thing we had to achieve was to restore confidence in Fiji, not necessarily the government, confidence in Fiji as a nation, as a country. And we could only do that from the government point of view to make sure that the law and order situation improves, that we improve our reputation and our standing with international agencies. And today, just before you came down here, you know that we presented a check to the Mine Workers Union of Patcola. And the regional manager for ILO was there. And I mentioned specifically that we do not have a good name with ILO because of the long-standing strike that's gone on now for 33 years from 1991. So it is very, very important for us to restore the confidence of the international community on Fiji.
So also I think in the last parliamentary sitting, you spoke on the report that was presented by one of the Accounts Committee on the public enterprise statutory state-owned enterprises. There was some proposal, there were some recommendations put forward by the committee, one of which being merging underperforming entities, and the other, you think you proposed that too, sir?
Yes.
That you hand over the portfolio to another minister to take on.
Yeah, we'll wait until the end of this session. We have another sitting in November, December, and after that I'll I'll probably hive off some of the responsibilities I have, particularly in the public enterprises thing, where I will discuss with the permanent secretary for public enterprises who is here with us, whether it is better to send some of those public enterprise entities to the ministries. For example, the Fiji Meat Industry Board, whether we should move that to the Ministry of Agriculture, whether waterways should be part of agriculture. We move that to works, whether and so on. So we want to finish this session and then work on those two changes.
Maybe we have time for one more communication feed.
Prime Minister Mbolde,
And then
Mika from Fiji Village News. So he drafted terms of reference for the Commission of Inquiry for FICAC. Any update on that? When
It will be presented to Cabinet on Tuesday.
next week, Tuesday, sir?
Yes, at Cabinet Day.
Just last question, sir. Regarding the Speaker's comments on Honourable Ali Kibia's statement on last Parliament sitting regarding the Melanesians, any comments on the Speaker's comments on his statement?
He was speaking from the point of view of a major landowner and a chief of a province where the Melanesians have been looked after very well as part of the province of the Kondrabe. And the complaints that have come up refer to only a small group. And he was talking more about generalization, generally stating that the Melanesians of PG have had a very rough go. And he brought that up because he was hurt. He had bent over backwards to accommodate those that are with us as Kaila Kondrabe now, whether they're Melanesians or what we used to call Indo-Fijians. He's done a lot. And the question on the public enterprises, this morning he also mentioned that he might invoke Standing Order 20, which commits those reports to proper investigation by the law enforcement agencies rather than keeping it under parliamentary authority.
BC, Fiji Times.
Okay?
So,
Oh.
welcome from Fiji News. So just on the FICAC investigations, just following after the investigations, will the findings by the Commission of Inquiry be made public?
I do not know. It will depend on what the law says. We will go through with it as far as Cabinet is concerned. Cabinet will empower the investigation and the Commission according to the terms, and after that it will be brought back to Cabinet with their recommendations, where the Cabinet takes it up with the law enforcement side.
FBC.
And I believe the Attorney General gave you a very good spill last week on FICAC, so why are you still, I'm not a lawyer. Okay? Inaga.
Sir, one last question. Boldina Kasainia Nimbola.
I don't want to
Mr. Joseph. Sir, are you aware of the protest made by the Nobuni Kambi villagers regarding the proposed EFL dam?
The which?
Namosi.
Namosi, Nobuni Kambi villagers, they did a protest.
Hydro, sir.
Oh, okay. Who left this morning to go up there? I think Vasu. Vasu has gone this morning to talk to them, and he'll report back to me this afternoon or tomorrow.
Nabaliu.
So can you tell us about Vatakola? What was the solution? What made it finally happen?
We realized that they had a case that should have been sorted out in my government, in the interim government of Ratsakami Sesmara, my government of 92 to 99, which we didn't. They persisted, and the laws have changed so much, and the ownership of Vatakola has also changed. So they were more receptive, and government is more receptive to their complaints.